Happy belated Earth Day, folks. But did you know more and more black and brown people around the world are reconnecting to their roots and redefining their relationships to the land by gardening and farming? And Black Gardener Talk is dedicated to sharing those voices to inspire all people of color and maybe even some that don't look like us to grow by any means necessary. But sometimes we just need our own safe space to talk, y'all. That's right. Good morning, I'm Kamani Anku, and this is the Webby nominated Black Garden Talk, and my guest today is Bilal Walker, y'all. We're going to get right into it because, like I like to start right off the break. All right, so let's get Bilal in the room so we can get this thing popping, all right? Good morning, everybody. Thank y'all for joining me. It's early. Um, hey, what's going on?
Peace, Kamani. How you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good to hear
How
from
you
you.
feeling?
I'm doing
Good to
well,
hear
thank
from you
you.
too.
Dope,
Yeah,
dope.
what's going on with you? How your day
Nothing.
going so far?
I was going well. I'm in the last few days of Ramadan. It's my
Okay.
holy month this month. So it's been a month of reflection and fasting, regrouping. So yes, it's amazing to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for wanting to be here with me, and I know you ready to drink some eat some food or something.
Yeah,
Ramadan can definitely kick your butt sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
for sure, for sure. It's definitely a marathon, marathon of again reflection and endurance, perseverance. You know, when that sunset hits, and there's no greater real connection to me than being with the earth in that sense because our fasting works around the lunar cycle and even our holiest of months is reflective of the lunar cycle. So yeah, I'm grateful to be here. It's dope to connect with you. Congratulations on your Webby nominations. If you are out there, you need to make sure that you are locked in and voted for Black Gardener Talk and Gardening and Beats, showing them love because you're creating a platform for sure for um, you know Black people connected to our ancestral practices. And yeah, man, it's dope. I'm happy to be here.
I appreciate all that, and I receive all that. Um,
So,
and we would know on Tuesday if we won anything. But to be nominated is just is an honor. I just never thought I would be ready for that, and so I
mm,
did submit at the last minute, and boom, there you go. I'm definitely building this platform for us, black and brown folks. And if some people that don't look like us join us and take something away from it, it's all good. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Of course, of course.
So, did you have a garden growing up? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the beginnings. Did you have a garden growing up? Did your parents have a garden? Did your grandparents have a garden? What's your first memories?
My first memories of gardening are definitely my grandparents having gardens. Both my maternal and paternal grandparents had gardens. I'm born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, but my family, maternal and paternal families, are from South Carolina and Georgia. Had moved to Newark during the Great Migration, and yeah, farming and sharecropping, gardening were second nature to them. So I have fond memories of uh, breaking pine needles from pine trees and um, getting stung by bees for traveling too far into my grandmother's garden that she had on the outside of her front yard, um, eating food grown by my grandparents. We had a pecan tree my grandmother had, so I've been around food and growing food really my entire life.
That's what's up. Doesn't it feel good to talk about the memories too?
Oh man, a little emotional thinking about it.
Yeah.
One of my grandmothers is deceased. God rest her soul.
Hmm.
It's definitely a moment of reflection whenever I'm, in the garden or, you know, traveling and visiting farms. I'm definitely always thinking about my grandparents for sure.
Okay, so little Bilal to grown Bilal, when did you want to start a garden? When did you start taking it serious? Like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start growing food for myself, my family, and the community. When did that start happening?
Honestly, this happened going on 3 years ago. In the city of Newark, we have an Adopt a Lot program where, um, for those of you who don't know, Newark is the largest city in Jersey. We are the most densely populated city in Jersey. We had a rebellion or riots that happened, and it left a ton of property vacant. And so for decades, we've had vacant properties riddled throughout the city. And for I think about 10, 15 years now, the city of Newark has been allowing, shout out to Mecca, she said Newark in the house for sure, for sure. We have been allowed by a city ordinance to uh, grow food on vacant properties in the city. And I had heard about this program called the Adopt a Lot, and I was, had experienced some urban gardens in the city and urban farms in the city. Um, and I kept passing this one lot, and I really felt like it was just speaking to me. And I was like, man,
Okay.
this lot looks crazy. It's a whole bunch of trash here. Like people were just kind of like, absent-minded about its like physical place and it being alive. And I don't know. I just felt like it was speaking to me. So I went downtown and I spoke to a city official named Chief Aziz Hamilton, and I had to present a series of proposals to him around, this vacant property and what I do with it. And after about like 4 or 5 times of going down there and getting my project rejected, I ended
Oh,
up being able to lease the property. And after that, it was really connecting with this brother named Tobias Fox of Newark Science and Sustainability. Shout out to Tobias Fox. He's one of the forerunners of urban farming in the city of Newark. He's done such amazing work and has brought a ton of attention to urban farming in the city. And he kind of guided me through a step-by-step process of, here's what you're going to have to do to get this lot to, be revitalized. And that
okay.
looked like, you know, clearing the lot out, doing some sheet mulching, getting some cardboard and wood chips down. And then I needed flatbeds. He gave me flatbeds. And then he said, here, here's how you can get some soil. It's where you can get some soil from, some quality soil. And here's some seedlings. This is how you can get some seedlings. And I
Oh, wow.
I woke up and I was like, oh man, it's a garden out here. Like that's crazy. Like
That
and
is
then
what's up. Shout out to Tobias because he really upped you a lot. Was it
yes.
was it hard? Did you feel like it wasn't never gonna happen? Did you feel that way? Did you feel like going through all of these motions that it wasn't gonna take off the way you wanted to at first?
I was praying that it would. I was asking Allah to give me clarity. I was asking Allah to help me to do what I set out to do because I had started a GoFundMe and
Okay.
I have been trying to garner funds because I'm a school teacher. I really don't make a ton of money. I was newly married. I really didn't have any extra money around to start a community project, and I thought, maybe I could put together a GoFundMe and let's see what we can do. And it just kind of took off. And I was from that point forward, of course, I was like, man, when people invest in a vision, you have to try your hardest to see it through, and you got to make it a meaningful process and experience. So I really just had to really give it to God and say, God, if this is what you want for us, if this is what you think is what is necessary at this time, then I ask you to make it easy for me, and He did.
That's what's up. Is the GoFundMe still going on, or is that done? Did you already get the funds, or what's the process with that? Because I want people, if they want to donate, if you're still looking for funds.
So yeah, we still have a GoFundMe going. As maintaining urban farms and green spaces, it can be costly. So we're certainly taking donations on an ongoing basis whenever someone wants to donate, we're more than grateful for it. Just in the process of the last 3 years, our priorities have shifted to more sustainable projects connected to urban farming, connected to green spaces and environmental justice. So we're actually in the process of trying to purchase our properties. So the GoFundMe that we have now is not only to help us on a seasonal basis with some of our projects, like workshops and paying urban farmers to actually teach and be regular faces at the farms and gardens, but to additionally acquire our properties from the city of Newark because we do not own them. And we actually leased 2 properties. We started off with 1 property, and we were blessed enough that the city, extended an additional opportunity for us to lease another property. So we were working with about 1,700 square feet, and now we're up to 7,500 square feet in total.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, we're
That's what's up. That's what's up. Folks out there, donate to this brother. Donate to him because, you know, it's all good and growing food. But if we don't own that land,
yes,
it's not good. You know what I'm saying? Give him some money. I'm going to donate some money today because I want him to own that property. You know what I'm saying? I definitely will. You can, when you're ready, you can put where to go at in the chat room. I'm always scared to do it because I feel like I'm gonna hit a button and the live is going to
got it.
go away. I'm one of those ones I can't chew and talk at the same time, so to speak. So yeah, definitely try to donate to this
Thank you.
brother if you can. And I'm gonna make a donation today. I live when I say that. But yeah, make a donation so he can own this property in the next 6 months. I'm gonna say 6 months.
I
All
was
right.
speaking. Thank you, brother.
What was any like? So you started this community garden.
hmm
Was it primary? You said was it primary just for your family? Because you said you newly married. You're a school teacher. I know what that's like because I used to be a school teacher too. They don't
hmm
make no, you know. Was it really about like just you and your providing for your family? When did the community part really get into it? Where you said I can feed the community? When did that happen too along the way?
Um, from the beginning, since our inception, because it was a GoFundMe led project, it it had to be that everyone had a role to play.
Okay.
So we hosted consistent cleanup days to actually get the trash outside of the green space. Um, we would, host workshops where individuals who are interested in learning about what we were doing could get connected with us. We were connected directly with um, individuals within those neighborhoods, specifically the North Broadway neighborhood and the South Broad Street neighborhood in Newark. Are neighborhoods that occupy Newark Housing Authority properties, which are affordable um, housing properties for our city's residents. So from the beginning, we were connected with individuals in those specific neighborhoods, and were not only rallying them to champion this work, but we were paying individuals from the it still do pay individuals
Oh
from
wow.
the community over $7,000 invested in employment opportunities for children and adults to make some money off of maintaining a space within their neighborhood. And that was extremely important to me because, I, when I think about, community engagement, community empowerment, empowerment models focus on leveraging existing resources, leveraging, the cultural landscape of these communities, and playing to them, making sure that individuals within these communities see themselves as a part of the process, see themselves
Mm-hmm.
as stakeholders and not people to be thought about after things are said and done. So they've been rocking with us from the beginning. So shout out to Grafton, the Grafton neighborhood. Shout out to, again, the South Broad Street neighborhood, Elizabeth Avenue and Miller Street, all of the
Shout
city
them out.
leaders
Shout
that
them out.
come out and support us. Shout out to the Mayor Raz Baraka and his administration, Councilman Anibal Ramos, all of these community-based organizations who have supported us, like the New Jersey Children's Foundation, Scopo's hospitality group. I mean, I could go on for days about the level of support that we've received from community-based organizations, as well as just your residents. Even individuals who do not live in Newark have contributed, including individuals from South Orange and Maplewood, which are suburbs about 15 to 20 minutes outside of Newark. They have contributed a ton of time and energy and funds to our projects as well. So shout out to everybody.
That is what's up. I love when the community gets involved and really take on ownership of something. It's we can't do without the community. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's one of the things that I'm pushing here where I live is about community, and it's a slow start here where I live at. Like in DC, I don't actually live in DC. I work in DC,
Got it.
but DC is really well funded with the green spaces. But where I live at in PG County is not as well spent or well funded or well rounded. And most of the time it's people that don't look like us that's in those spaces where I live at. And so my whole mission now is to jump in there and knock down those doors, and it's taking a minute. But like I said, we are sort of behind. This year in Maryland, we did start a recycle program, which is really, really
Hmm.
good. That people can recycle, or composting program, rather. And they sent like compost bins out to everybody that wanted one. And so they will pick those up on the Monday, and then they compost it down, and then people can go and get that free compost later
Oh
on,
wow.
put in their garden. So yeah, I feel you. I just love community. What was your first mistake when you went into that space? What challenges did you come across? I know you said it was trash, but like, what's some of the mistakes that you encountered when you first went into that space,
Hmm.
if any?
I think we all make the mistake of thinking whether you start off with a community focus or not,
Mm-hmm,
we all make the mistake of thinking we could do something alone, and you can't. I think that is a survival mechanism for Black and Brown people, where we're kind of coached by nature of just systemic racism, poverty, into sometimes self-sabotaging and thinking, how am I going to
mm-hmm,
do all of this by myself? And it's never been by myself. I started off letting you know that I believe Allah gave me the guidance. I started off by acknowledging that from jump, we had people involved. So I never should have doubted that they weren't going to be involved. But I think um, throughout various points in these projects that it can be very overwhelming. And so maybe I should say that my first mistake was underestimating the level of time, energy, and dedication that you have to commit. This is a commitment that you are making when you start off engaging people in an empowerment process. You have to be in it to win it, and it's difficult because you have so many other things going on in your life. You got a mother, you got a wife, you got a father, you got responsibilities that you know you have to do. You have to go to work, no matter what your you know other existing issues are. There are things that you have to do. So I think that one of my largest mistakes was I didn't maybe consider as much what that paid employment for additional hands would look like.
mm-hmm,
I was really eager to just put money in the hands of people in the community, and we invested a ton of money into paying individuals from our communities where our gardens and farms are located. And I think that I should have been focusing more on building a partnership with a community-based organization who we could leverage to employ, part-time these same
mm-hmm.
individuals, as opposed to um, you know, individuals that sometimes, just by nature of life, you see them sometimes and you don't. But we've been grateful that we do have, pockets of people in both neighborhoods who you're always going to see them. They're always going to be there. They will call me and let me know if something doesn't look right, if something is, if someone's doing something in the neighborhood that's concerning. And you know, I'm in a place now where I'm able to recognize that those individuals are the individuals that we really need to secure positions for. And yeah, I would say, you know, consider that this is time consuming, and if you do not have the capacity to be a full-time farmer or gardener, you are going to need some additional hands for sure. And you want to make sure you have some funds allocated to pay people for that work.
That's what's and I agree with you because I'm on that journey now. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, do I partner up with someone or I just find the money to pay the people? So I'm taking your advice. You know what I'm saying? And I guess that would be, what advice would you give a new gardener or someone that's trying to do what you want to do? Um, so yeah, we covered that question. We can move on.
For sure.
Sometimes they come together and when I ask a certain question. But from your mistakes to your
Mm-hmm.
first garden success, what was that and how did that feel?
Um, it 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 feels good to be able to acknowledge and not self-sabotage. It feels good to learn from the mistake and create systems so that you can pass the baton, because you can't run the marathon forever. It is a marathon, but eventually you have to be able to, if you're a leader, if you are an empowerment coach, if you are an advocate, you are supposed to be building capacity to support a larger vision. And if I'm learning anything from it, if I can share anything with anybody about just the people power, it's leverage those community-based organizations. You cannot solely rely on, just general donations from individuals. You need to develop a sponsorship package. You need to, be actively seeking grants, especially if you're dealing with, green space that is larger in size. Typical urban gardens or urban farms in Newark are about 1,500 to probably like 2,000 square feet. I'm looking at 7,500 square feet. Grants that are available for the city typically support a urban garden or farm about 2,000 square feet. So I got 5,000 square feet of additional property that I'm operating a budget of, maybe the size of a smaller lot. So, you have to consider those things and consider how you're going to maximize those resources, and leverage what's existing in the community. You don't always have to recreate the wheel. There is someone out there who is an expert or someone who can coach you, and you need to reach out to them. You can't be afraid to ask for help. You can't be too prideful. You need to humble yourself and recognize, especially if you're not a farmer who's like grown up on a farm and growing food all your life. If that's not the case for you and you're someone who's interested in starting an urban garden or urban farm, definitely think about it, maybe a cooperative model, because that can bring down some of your cost and then also allow you to leverage people power directly connected to the farm.
That's what's up. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And sometimes I feel like sometimes it's easy just to get out there and grow the food, but like you just
Mm-hmm.
said, you're talking about sponsorship, building partnership with organizations. You need those type of people, and those are green jobs too. Most people don't associate those with green jobs, but
Mm-hmm.
people do that for green spaces. And I think that's another step that we have to look into the tech world, how to build garden boxes through a tech. You can probably do some 3D printing garden boxes,
Right.
or build a system that makes the water come down or come from above the ground or whatever. Solo, solar energy,
Mm-hmm.
to do gardening, and then, like I said, marketing. And then if you distributing the food to farms or grocery stores, or you need that type of person on your team too. So it's just not about always growing the food too. But I'm loving everything you're talking about today. I mean,
Thank you.
I'm learning. I'm trying to take some notes down. I'm trying to remember this stuff, so because I want to take some snippets out of this show and put it around on the internet.
Mhm.
What? Look at my question. How has gardening changed you since you started 3 years ago? You 3 years
Wow.
into it. How has it changed you?
I think that it has definitely supported some of my um, mental and emotional health needs. It's
Mm-hmm.
giving me an opportunity to step back from the chaos of inner city life and kind of build something or continue to build something that's physically growing and alive. And I think sometimes our minds and bodies and spirits are so caught up in the chaos of everything around us that green life or green space, you know, it just affords a level of comfort, relaxation. I enjoy being able to get up in the morning and read my Quran or any of my, favorite books in the garden, to color in the garden, to just walk around the garden and taste herbs or make a salad on the spot and just be like, man, I ate this and I grew this. Like that's crazy. Like I don't know. I just feel like it's helped me to relax. It's helped a lot with my anxiety. Um so yeah, I think overall, just like my mental health and emotional health have definitely benefited from just getting my hands dirty, using that physical labor, moving wood chips and freaking moving all types of materials. We try to source as many refurbished materials as possible, shipping pallets and wood chips and cardboard. You're doing that for 4 or 5 hours a day or longer, and you out there in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
It's labor intensive, but it's it's relaxing at the same time because you're exerting yourself, and putting your time and energy into something that you're actually gonna see manifest into something that's going to feed someone, that's going to heal someone. And we spend a ton of time investing in things that don't have any real value. After you spend your money on it, after invest your time and energy on it, it don't go nowhere. It's just there,
Yes.
you know. And the garden is just so different from that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, and you could get emotional. I mean, if a tear drop, it just drops.
Yeah,
This is I
it's the
want this to be a safe space because this is it's I'm getting emotional just hearing your story because I have gone through those same things. You know what I'm saying? I would say gardening was my therapist, opposed to going to a therapist and charging. You know, I got free therapy by learning the garden, so that really changed my life as well. You know what I'm saying? It actually changed my life. It actually saved my life. And I feel like if there wasn't gardening, I might not be here right now doing this Black Gardener talk for gardening. And so I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I love it. You know what I'm saying? Where do you spend most of your time when you do go to the garden? Is there a certain spot that you like to go and sit and, like you said, read the Quran, make a salad? Is there a place in that space that you just love to go to, like on a weekly basis or daily basis?
I'm always in the herb section. We have been grateful to bring on a medicine woman for this upcoming season. Her name is Yaquana. Shout out to Yaquana. We're so excited to have you this season, Yaquana. You have no idea. And I would say that those beds particularly bring me a sense of comfort and relaxation because you know I come from a family. um I come from a very black family. My family is black. And I come from ancestral lines that were birth workers, medicine people, so when I'm connected to the herbs there, I'm always like just picking things, tasting things, figuring out, how can I turn this into some type of tonic? What were like the indigenous or African uses of this herb. Um, where do I see this herb or its use in some of my day-to-day, you know, uh, medicine or lotions or things that I eat on a daily basis. You see lemon balm, lavender, lemongrass,
Mm,
basil, thyme, oregano. You see all of these things continue to show up. Yarrow, uh, all types of nettle. You see all these things naturally growing. You see these things in a lot of products that we use on a day-to-day basis, and I just find it to be really intriguing. I think it maybe in some ways I hope through us hiring a medicine woman to maybe venture into that as a hobby for myself,
mhm.
to study more about the medicinal benefits of herbs. And I also have an uncle who's a chemist, and he makes a laundry detergent that my
Oh,
family owns. It's called The True Products, True Laundry Detergent. It's the first Black owned, halal owned, Muslim owned laundry detergent in the United States. So I think I've just kind of naturally been inclined to plant life, specifically plants that can be used to create value added products.
okay.
So yeah, I love to sit near the mint beds. A lot of people hate mint because they're like, yo, it goes so crazy, and I'm like, man, there's so much you can do with mint.
So
Like,
much, so much you could do with it.
yeah, we grow different varieties of it, so I love the mint beds and the herb beds for sure.
Yeah, this year I acquired some strawberry mint, and I was
Oh,
like,
I never had that.
what is this? I'm getting it. And so I was shopping for a client because I do gardening coaching now and teaching new gardeners how to grow the food. And I went to buy stuff for them, and I end up buying most of the stuff for me because I saw like strawberry mint, and I was like, I gotta get this. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But and then like you talk about the medicine, that's how my family was. You know what I'm saying? Well, mostly like my dad's side
Hmm.
was like I would say a witch doctor, and
Hmm.
my grandmother will always say, "I'm going to be a witch doctor" at one point, and I was like, "Grandma, what is the witch doctor?" You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
I feel like now that I am a witch doctor because I'm always making some concoction up. You know what I'm saying? For the people, like I use black seeds oil, and I
Oh,
actually,
dope.
yeah, I ingest that, but I also put it on my face, and I'm in my late 40s now. People was like, you're in your late 40s, and I was like, yeah, put some black sea soap
All right, let me try the
oil
black
on your
seed.
face. Maybe
We
you'll be
use the
young
black
too.
seed in
Yeah.
Islam. That's it's one of our it's one of our traditional tonics that we take. Black seed oil is said to be a cure for many ailments. So I have noticed a ton of black people using more black seed oil. And if you 40, brother, and the black seed, I ain't been using the black seed on the face, but if you 40 and you got the black seed on the face, I'm gonna try that for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely put it on the face, and it's like not 40, but past 40.
Wow, amazing.
That's what's up. Speaking of herbs and stuff, where do you get your seeds from?
So we typically, by nature of the fact that one, our climates in Jersey, we've been we've had warmer springs, but specifically thinking about Newark and contextualizing what urban farming looks like for us. Many of our farmers in the city, we support one another. If there are those of us who have greenhouses, if there are those of us who start seedlings, that those individuals sometimes, many times, get paid to start the seeds. They typically buy from um, organizations that can support them with organic, non-GMO seeds if possible. Sometimes, not always. But we rely heavily on my organization. We use a lot of starter plants. We try to get them as small as possible, but we don't have a greenhouse. I know there are tons of opportunities with aquaponics. I see people with the lights in their homes, and you know they get it going early. Like, oh no, I don't need a whole greenhouse. I got it right here. I'm gonna just get this started. Whereas for us, when we're thinking about 7,500 square feet, I'm thinking about a ton of programming that we do around urban farming and just education in general. It is of benefit to us to purchase seedlings and then do transplants and have the community members come out and engage in the transplant process. And additionally, we have a farmer, a resident farmer, who we are bringing on board, a brother named Katai. He's an immigrant from Zambia. Shout out to Katai. He's joining our team this year. He's going to be our resident farmer. He's going to be talking to, and not just talking, but facilitating, really in-depth workshops around starting seedlings, transplanting, maintaining the health of your plants, and what that looks like in a climate like we get in Newark, and just the other factors that come along, like rodents and animals that want to eat your food and all types of things like that. And he's a lot more experienced in that work. So, yeah, he has a degree in agroforestry. So I was like, man, I need to get somebody on here. My background is in education. My background is in business and marketing. And I recognized that I needed to, one, secure some funds to pay somebody who is a lot more knowledgeable about growing food, and two, leverage that person so that people could put a face to the name, and that person be someone who is more frequent with being able to facilitate really impactful workshops. So we tend to use a lot of seedlings, unless we do grow some flowers from seeds, but most of the time we use seedlings.
That's what's up. And you talk about these workshops. Where do you find these people? How? What? I mean, do you go on LinkedIn or you on Instagram? Like, do you put a ad out in the paper? How do you find these educated people to hold these workshops, like the medicine woman and all this stuff? How do you find them?
They in Newark. Newark
Okay.
breeds greatness. Let me tell you, a lot of people sleep on Newark because they think, overwhelmingly they know that Newark is an underserved community. We've had issues with drug and alcohol addiction. We've had issues with undereducation. We've had issues with police brutality. But let me tell you something about my people. We hustle. We hustle. If there is someone out there with a skill, trust and believe that they are willing to be paid for their services. And I have a great support system of individuals who just have continuously frequented the spaces.
Yeah.
They've kind of become in some shape or form just resident attendees. They come, they help out whenever we have volunteer days. They're always there, and so from those relationships, you get to have, that's the best part about being an active member of your project, is that you really do get to build those meaningful relationships with people. And while you're having those conversations, you find out, oh yeah, I have a degree in agroforestry. Oh yeah, I have a degree in culinary arts. Or, oh yeah, like, we have a stage there. Someone might be a dancer, and we're trying to figure out how we can get people more active. So when you're out there really connecting with people, talking to them, food is always going to, some way, shape, or form, show up in that conversation. There's always going to be some connectivity to food. You can't do exercise if you're not eating. So, you try to think about, well, who out there do I know, or does somebody else know that has, some experience in, like, physical fitness that can instruct people, or, who has a restaurant that might be willing to come and do a farm to table demonstration, or if they're a personal chef and they want to, that so many personal chefs hit me up. So many businesses hit me up to say, yo, like, can I buy the food that you grow? Like, we'd much rather purchase food directly from you, because they visited the spaces, they've seen it. They're like, I can't believe you can grow all this right here. Like, if I could cook with this, I'd do that. And I'm like, well, maybe I could trade you some tomatoes, like a bag of tomatoes, because we grow mad tomatoes. I'll trade you some tomatoes on occasion if you can come out to the garden and, facilitate a workshop. just trying to leverage whoever has a skill, and if they're willing and able to be paid for it, we really try to pay people for their knowledge. I think it's really important that you pay people for their skills, and so that's why we are extremely grateful when we secure sponsorships, because when you good people and people want to vibe with you, and they see the cause, they're like, I ain't trying to hit you, they ain't gonna hit you too hard,
Yeah,
try to meet you in the middle ground. So
yeah.
I let people know up front, like, look, it ain't a ton of money, but you'll get access to the green space if you want to grow your own personal things, or if you want to host events out here, or you know we could write you a letter of support, whatever it is. We try to see how we could do the as much cooperative economics as possible. We are about spreading as many resources around as possible.
That's what's up. We got a lot of people in the room say they ready
Mhm.
to move up there where you are.
Come on, come.
That's a good thing. How do you decide what you're gonna grow? Do you put out a survey to the community, or is it just stuff that you like, something that your wife likes? How do you decide what y'all gonna grow in this community space?
We definitely looked at the cultural landscape of the community. We connected with the community members. Newark is predominantly Black, inclusive, of course, of African Americans. You got West Africans, you got Caribbean Americans, of course, your Afro Latinos, and your Hispanic population living in the city. And so we in these particular neighborhoods, that's the demographic makeup. You got your Black people, and of course Afro Latinos, and your Hispanic people in the community. And we asked them. We have surveys. We asked them what it is that they want to see in the gardens, and of course we also consider what is feasible. Like, I don't know. Now there's some people in North growing some really exotic stuff like papaya and all types of stuff, but we're not there yet. So predominantly we grow a lot of greens, because greens hold up well in Jersey. We grow a
Hmm.
lot of tomatoes, eggplant we ventured into, okra, which is one of my favorites, because my family is from the Carolinas. So I grew up eating a lot of okra. Like, I eat okra a lot. If I could grow rice, I would probably grow rice, because I pretty much had rice with a lot of my meals. My mother would cook rice a lot, and okra, and sauteed squash I would have a lot. So I ate a lot of vegetables growing up, and because a lot of the families from Jersey are originally from like Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, you see those things as a priority, and the community members make it known. Our Hispanic community members, they often like, peppers. They want peppers. And so peppers grow really well here. We grow a ton of peppers and different variety of peppers. Our West Indian community and African community members, they also enjoy spicier foods. So we grow a lot of peppers. Um, and then you have, of course, between both of those populations, individuals that make medicine, and also prefer to cook with fresh herbs. So we grow a ton of fresh herbs as well. So we try not to grow too many things that we know community members are not gonna, particularly want to engage with.
Hmm.
So yeah.
That's what's up. I mean, on that note, have you tried stuff that, say you thought they wasn't gonna like, and then it turned out to be a hit? Something that's not the greens or the okra. Did you try to grow anything, and then you did like a test, and they was like, "Oh, we love that." Because I know when I started
Hmm.
growing my food, I hated eggplant, and I was like, ugh. I guess because the person who prepared it didn't look like us, and
Right.
I just hated it. You know what I'm saying? But then I was like, oh, maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll grow it and see what it's like. And then when I start growing it, I have a better appreciation for it now, and I can make some eggplant bacon, meatballs,
Yeah.
meat,
Everything.
everything. Yeah.
Lasagna.
Well, did you encounter anything like that?
I mean, eggplant was not high on the priority, but we grew it last year, and we didn't have a hard time giving it away. Other people came back for it. Um, what else have we grown that was a little odd? We had some type of summer pumpkin, or it was maybe it was a gourd. Sometimes, like,
Mhm.
some of the gourds that are not like, as common down south. You could get people kind of looking at it like, what is that? Like, I'm not trying to, I've never seen that. What kind of squash or pumpkin or
Mm-hmm.
anything in those families, I was a little hesitant of. But I feel like eggplant for sure. We grew like white eggplant, which I had not ever eaten.
Mm-hmm.
All of the eggplant that I've had has been purple and sauteed with like probably tomato sauce and uh, rice, the lots of rice. So, I always kind of do like think about what are going to, because a lot of our community members probably eat a lot of rice dishes to accompany their vegetables. So I think about, what are going to be the things that people are going to be able to take in and have with their rice dishes. And that's typically your sauteed vegetables, your kale. Even kale, honestly, I will say that kale and eggplant. I noticed that kale is not as much of a popular green in Jersey, maybe for some of the older populations of people that we have here. I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm 30. I know a lot of people in my age group are used to having kale juices and seeing kale more so in like, these buildable restaurants where you can get your quinoa and your sauteed vegetables and you get your sauteed kale. Even though we grew up on collard greens stewed with turkey necks, turkey butt, I think the kale is stepping into the more popular uh uh green. And there was some hesitation when I gave the kale away, because they're like, this looks like a weird, depending on the variety, this looks like a
Yeah.
weird collard green.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not collards, even though it's in a similar family. But
Right.
even a variety of collard greens. You have Southerners living in Jersey who are very particular about the variety of collard that they want. And so when I would show them some of the collard green plants, they would be like, I ain't never seen no collard green that look like that. What type of collard green is that? And I'm like, okay, so I need to make sure that I get the get the variety that people are familiar with, and then mix it up. You give
I
them
think
an opportunity to try
most
different things.
people are familiar with the Georgia collard greens. Yeah.
Exactly.
They don't know anything other than that.
That's
And
it.
with kale, I would say probably curly kale. They don't know
Yep.
anything outside of curly kale,
Yep.
for people. Because I didn't know it was a variety of a kale until I started growing too. But
Me either.
we ate all of that collard greens, kale. We did the mixed greens. So it was turnip greens, kale,
Got it.
and collards all in the same pot.
I
Um,
had mustard. I think I would get mustard green. My grandmother would maybe do mustard greens, but I think collard was the staple. And I really don't know before maybe college if I had had kale before. I probably had tried it in a juice and then saw it when I was out, visiting some of, the up and coming um healthier food businesses that we have in the city of Newark, because we've been designated a food desert. All 5 wards of our city has been designated a food desert. We are swamped with McDonald's. We are swamped with overpriced bodegas. And you got to venture into other neighborhoods in other communities to really get to a decent farmers market. So I don't even really think that I had tried kale, especially fresh out of the ground, to take a piece of kale and just like, harvest it and eat it right then and there. I don't think I had ever had kale like that before. So yeah, it's not, just for community members. I'm getting exposed to a different variety of plants through this work.
That's what's up. Next week we're gonna have another Jersey night on Sonya Harris.
Okay,
I'm gonna keep it in the family for the next 2 weeks.
dope.
But what is the hardest plant you ever try to grow, or vegetable, I should say?
Straw strawberries. Strawberries. I was so disappointed because I love strawberries. It's
Okay.
probably one of my favorite fruit, and I don't know. I just don't know if they feeling it. Like I don't. I see other farmers and gardeners in the city with some really robust strawberry plants, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, for one, I think they just by nature of how they look, and I don't know what I thought a strawberry like seedling or plant was going to look like. But I'm like, you mean to tell me strawberries come from this? Like, how many strawberries am I actually going to get from this? I don't even know what the yield is on it. But last year, we maybe got like 3 or 4 strawberries like this size. And I sat around because I was like, oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to eat these.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to let them rock for another couple of days. And before I knew it, a bird ate it. So I was like, oh,
Yeah,
man,
the
that
verse.
was it. And the
Yeah. I mean, I have luck with strawberries. I don't know what the luck is, but that was the very first plant I ever grew, and it's
wow,
crazy. The same strawberries are growing in my yard, and it's been about 12 years. Um,
wow.
the first I did do a mistake. I kind of put them in the ground, and they took over, and so I couldn't plant anything else. I had to actually dig them up and then put them in barrels, and so now
Wow.
they're barrels. But they've been growing. For about good 12 years, the same ones. Every now and then I'll buy a new one just to add in because I don't know when the old ones would die. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I just put them in the barrel. I'm one of those ones. I'll just put anything in the ground or in a raised bed and then I'll just see
And
what
let it
happens.
rock. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm kind of on the same type of time. So I'm
I'm
hoping this year.
yeah, I'm a lazy gardener.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a lazy gardener. I
I
just said
believe in just
I'm a
letting nature take its course at
yeah.
times and just seeing
Now
what happens.
I will go on water it because I know it's gonna need some
Yeah.
water. But other than that, I just kind of let it do what it does. You know,
Hmm.
no strawberries. I have strawberries and chives that've been growing for a good 12 years now, and
Wow.
coming back, which is cool. But maybe it might be the soil that you dealing with. I mean, they do like it on the acidic side, so maybe
Okay.
to add some acidic stuff, worm casings in it.
Got
This
it.
year I put the new strawberry patch, which is a vertical. I'm running out of space in my yard, so I'm using my basement stairwell railing as a strawberry patch. I'm in a
Dope.
vertical thing, but that's cool. But from your hardest plant to your easiest plant, where you was like, "Damn, I did that." What was that?
It's the herbs, man. The herbs
Okay.
they just go crazy. It's super low maintenance. The harvest and like the yield is really easy. I also was shocked at how easy the eggplant grew, and that was our first time growing it last year. And I mean, we had a decent yield from it as well. So I was shocked to see how well eggplant grew in Jersey. Even tomatoes. I before I really had gotten into gardening, um, we were getting tons of tomato plants. And they were like, man, you were gonna have tomatoes for days. And I was like, man, how many tomatoes you think you could get from a plant? That probably ain't even that. Man, you can make sauce, all just from the tomatoes. I can't believe it. But Jersey's known. We actually have a pretty good climate for tomatoes. So now knowing that, it makes a lot of sense. So I would say tomatoes, eggplants, and herbs.
Okay. Are you doing any canning with all of those tomatoes, or it's freeze drying them, or dehydrating them? Are you working in that direction yet?
With our resident culinary person we're gonna have, I'm hopeful that we're gonna learn how to do some canning. What typically happens is by October, November, and they're still going. They may not be ripening as much. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I do get down with the fried green tomatoes, and it just be fried
Yeah.
green tomatoes, green salsa, or I take it to a restaurant, and we have a really good Mexican restaurant close to our Grafton farm, and we just give it away. I'm not entirely sure what they do with it afterwards, but I'm sure they're cooking it, and I'm sure it's getting ate by somebody. And some of our community members really just want green tomatoes. Like they're like, no, give me the green ones. That's what I want. You could keep the red ones if you got green tomatoes. We'll take those, and pickling and all types of stuff. I would love to get into pickling and canning some of our produce that is kind of going towards the winter and fall seasons, because we tend to grow well up until like October, November for sure for a lot of
Yeah.
our different stuff.
That's what's up. Yeah, I would say definitely invest in that because then you can have a longer shelf life with some of
Right.
the, opposed to just always giving it away to the grocery stores or I mean
Hmm.
what that restaurant, even though they could use it. But yeah, we if we can it, we can keep it in our house for at least a year or so on the shelf. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Have you learned a favorite trick or tip since you've been gardening, like along the way? Since you've been doing this for 3 years, is there something like a trick or tip you can give to folks out here that's listening that might need it
Trick or tip.
from the garden perspective? Like, ooh,
Hmm. Hmm.
think about it. I would say, well, I'll give a tip. For example, when
Hmm.
I figured those strawberries was in the ground and they took over everything, I started reading up, and then I was like, okay, I need to put them in something else. I end up putting them in a barrel, and so
Right.
a trick, and it was a tip. You know what I'm saying? And when I talk to people growing food, I was like, don't put the strawberries in the ground. That's where you want to dedicate it for the
Hmm.
rest of their lives. Do you have anything like that that you could give to people?
I did get a tip last year that was pretty, I would say it's pretty effective. The first year we grew tomatoes, no problem. Last year we grew in the first couple of like first couple of weeks of us seeing them bear fruit, I saw that they had some black spots on the tomatoes. And I went to a local nursery and he was telling me that the soil was probably calcium deficient. And so we added some calcium in like 2 to 3 days. It was like completely gone. Um, so yeah, maybe if you have some tomatoes out there and you're wondering, yo, why my tomatoes got freckles, you might need to add some calcium to the soil.
Unless it's a freckled tomato, because last year I had a tiger or a zebra
Oh,
tomatoes,
wow, I saw those.
zebra striped ones. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
so yeah, that's a tip. So um, put that calcium in if you got those black spots on your tomatoes, y'all. This is the time, folks, that if you have any more questions, because I got one last question for Bilal, and I'm gonna let him go. But if you have any questions for, put them in the question box so we can answer them. I mean, he's a wealth of knowledge, as you may see. He started a community garden by just keep driving past this lot. He got it. He's ready to buy that land. I'm going to make a donation as soon as we get off this live. But if y'all have any questions, put them in the chat. Any other words you like to say? I do have one question. It's probably gonna lead into what you're probably saying now. But any other comments, tricks, thoughts you might have right now?
Keep God first and, you know, be humble in the work. Recognize that this land that we're operating on, our ancestors, indigenous ancestors, they lost all of this. It was stolen from them.
Mm-hmm.
And to constantly be aware of that. So that is a driving force for you to acquire. And I'm not talking negatively about anybody in the sense of operating these lease properties throughout various cities across the United States, but we can't continue to invest in this type of green space infrastructure and learning and not attempt to acquire it. And it's hard in a lot of states to do so. I'm in the process of
Go ahead. We're gonna get to that question.
I'm in the process of trying to do so in the city of Newark, and I'm gonna just need people who believe to just pray for us and hope the best for us. But definitely shout out to you, Kimani. I appreciate you having me here today. If you have not gone on to the Webby Awards website to nominate Black Gardener Talk, make sure that you do so. Please continue to support Guardian Beats. This has been an amazing opportunity for me, and I've enjoyed being here today. I see one question from Mecca. She said, I'm in Newark. How can I get some fresh veggies from the garden? So, Mecca, if you're not already following us, please do so. We definitely would love to have you come by and check out the garden. We typically try to distribute most of our produce to the individuals within that particular neighborhood. But again, with tomatoes and herbs and things like that, we typically have an abundance of it. So, if at all this summer, which I'm sure we will have some, you are more than welcome to it. Just DM us so we can get your contact information, get you out there for a volunteer day, and start to build that community with you.
That's what's up. And if you want to follow him and you have not followed him, you can go to the top where it says Black Garden Talk. There's a little arrow, and you hit that arrow up there, and it'll drop down, and it'll show everybody that's in this room, and you can hit that follow button right there and go make a donation. So my last and final question is, what is the future for Bilal Walker, his garden, his farm, everything? Tell us, what is the future looking like for you?
The future for us, God willing, would be to acquire our properties. We need to acquire these properties from the city of Newark. The state of New Jersey has invested millions of dollars through a new grant, through the New Jersey Economic Development Association, to build infrastructure to combat the impacts of food deserts and environmental injustice within various cities across the state, but particularly Newark, which is the largest city in the state of New Jersey. All 5 wards of our city are designated as food deserts. It is troubling as an educator to come into a school building and, one, not be able to walk to a corner store or walk to a business and get something healthy for myself, or I'm standing on my feet for 10 to 12 hours a day instructing young people, but to dually have young people come in drinking CNC sodas, having turkey and cheese and Italian cheeseburgers with ketchup and French fries on a daily basis. And I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking, comfort food, because
Mm-hmm.
everything in moderation. But when you know that there are no more options, and that the only option is to purchase something that you know is going to promote obesity, is going to promote asthma, it's an issue. I'm not going to continue to sugarcoat the issues that happen around our city. Anybody who knows me knows how I get down. I have a huge amount of respect for the individuals within our city's administration. I think they do a great job of connecting with individuals like myself and other advocates, community empowerment workers, but we're not going to continue to play the game of everything is all right, because it's not all right. And because they see it's not all right, they're trying to, make sure that they invest in projects that make a lot of sense. So if you can, please visit our website. That's www.al-munirconsulting.com. I'm going to put it in the chat as well. You can also follow us at Al Munir Farms. That's ALMUNIR Farms. And just support us. Send us love. You could like our pictures, read some of the content that we have on our website regarding environmental justice. And if you see something that maybe you think will be a good fit for us, whether that's a grant or a learning opportunity, we definitely appreciate your help. So I'm thankful for the opportunity. Again, I just want to say thank you to the city of Newark. I cannot do this work alone. It takes a team. Thankful for my family, my mother, my father, my wife, everyone who literally is always hands-on and trying to help me see through these projects, and help the community see through these projects, whether they invest in time, energy, or any other resource. I'm grateful. And yes, if you're fasting and this is the month of Ramadan for you, may Allah make your fasting a means of expiation for your sins. May you be developed in light and guidance, and continue to shower your family in love.
I love all that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Go support this brother. Go. This brother is like, this is community right here. And so when I repost this is going to be all about community. And I'm learning stuff from you. Even though I might be a little bit older than you, I always learn. Learning is a life thing. I'm still in school. I call myself a lifer in school. You know what I'm saying? I want to stay in school because I don't want to pay my student loans. Joe Biden, please
Tell me
give
about it. Tell me
loans.
about it. We need to cut
We
it
need to get
out.
rid of those
They need
student
to cut it
loans
out and
too.
leave it alone.
But also we need to get Cory Booker involved in Jersey and make sure that because he's on the environmental committee in the Senate, and we need to send letters out to him, y'all, to help this brother get this land, and we
Thank
need to
you.
acquire more land. And also, don't be afraid. I want to say with Black folks, don't be afraid to build a network and put your money together. We always
Yes.
sometimes want to be um that one. I gotta
Mm-hmm.
be the one. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be the first. No, we can all be the first. And I
Right.
feel like there's a lot of money out there for all of us. And just
Yes.
speaking of just like with the Whammy nomination, I asked a friend of mine who does podcast, been doing podcasts for a long time. And they said they would not vote for me because they didn't want to get spam later on from the organization, but then turned around and asked me could they buy some sea moss from me. And I was like, no, I don't have any sea moss. And then, being the petty person that I am, I created a video with the sea moss that I recently had, and I tagged them in it
That's how you
just to
gotta
be
do it
messy
sometimes.
and petty. But I just feel like you should be happy for me. Yeah, you might not have, maybe you didn't know the resources because somebody gave me that resource. I didn't know about the resources. I didn't know anything about the Webby Awards, and they've been around for 26 years. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I'm just learning about them. And I was like, don't be mad at me because, I had the opportunity to get in there. Sonia Harris is in the room. She's going to be on next week. She's in Jersey too. Um,
Shout out Sonya.
but yeah, we all got to work together. It's a community, and if we all stick together, Black and brown people stick together, I think we can win. You know what I'm saying? We can win big. Like you said earlier, that this land and everything was stolen from us. They demonized us, you know, and then they took it away from it and us, and they made it look like gardening and farming and that whole side of business is not a good thing. But if you really get into what's going on in Ukraine, the Ukraine and Russia thing is over land. And most people
Hmm.
don't know that.
It's
It's about
always over
land
land.
because we get most of our grains from Ukraine. And so Russia is just trying to take a whole of that land so they can be able to grow more grains and then export it out to the different countries.
Mm.
So do your research, go out there, help this brother. I'm going to donate. But thank you so much, Bilal Walker, for joining me today. Um, I wish you all the luck
Thank
in the
you.
world. I'm gonna say 6 months you're gonna get this land because somebody
Inshallah.
my donation. I got the website. I'm not kidding. I got my little screensaver on, but my computer is right here. I'm about to do it before I go out and handle a family emergency today. But I always leave with this: live your life healthy, free from negativity, and as always, Black people, we gotta stay dope. All right, peace.